When light comes into the room, shadows are scared. People don't conspire against you only because you did something bad. They scheme because your presence makes them feel like their masks are coming off. Have you ever noticed how quiet things become when your name comes up in chat? That wasn't a coincidence. That is spiritual noise. Studies show that jealousy activates the same part of the brain as physical pain, which means that some people are literally allergic to your blessings. They keep trying to throw you off your path. But the funny thing is that you are the path. You're not the problem in their tale. In God's story, you're the twist. People who can figure out why your tranquility survived their upheaval go to their strategy meetings, which are actually just group therapy sessions. It's funny. While they're busy creating traps, Kevin is converting those identical locations into your stepping stones. What they don't know is that your blessing is strong. It is sealed at the manufacturer. You aren't strolling around looking for good luck. Favor has been following you around since you were born, and it doesn't take any turns. So, be ready, because this story isn't about them attempting to stop you. It's about them finding out that they were never the main characters in the first place. First, they're not fighting you. They are fighting the proof that you are real. People who have based their confidence on lies are scared of you. They spend years telling themselves that favor, luck, or divine protection were just stories. Then you came along, walking proof that it's real, and not just real but also possible. That's what they are afraid of. You don't just say you have faith, strength, and resilience. You do it every time you get up. They have to think about what they might have become if they hadn't given up. You need to know that jealousy doesn't necessarily appear like hatred. Sometimes it seems as quiet discrediting, mocking, or silence. They won't fight you if you do well because you did anything wrong. They are fighting because you show them how empty their options are. You move in a different way. You can't buy your energy. You don't have to borrow your confidence. And you don't need anyone's approval to be at ease. That alone makes some people uneasy. You are proof that inner strength can't be faked, and that's something those who pretend can't handle. People who care a lot about how they look can't take being real because it makes their image break. They think of their own turmoil when they see how calm you are. Your faith makes others think about their own uncertainty. When they see how far you've come, it shows them how long they've been going around in circles. You turned into a mirror for them, even though they didn't ask for one. And since they can't get rid of what's inside you, they try to attack what's around you. They gossip, leave people out, and make plans anything to feel like they have control again. But the problem is that the truth doesn't go away when it's told. They're not just responding to you. They're responding to what your presence shows. You are proof that divine timing is real, that you don't have to give up your integrity to win, and that peace is possible after pain. That proof makes their justification seem worse. They fight back because they don't want to lose their comfort zones. But affirmation doesn't give you illumination. It runs on alignment. They can't turn off something they never began. And the more they tried to deny the evidence, the louder it gets. You didn't come to change anyone's mind. You came to see that the truth always comes out, even when it wears your name. Second, they are trying to stop what they don't understand. People will want to dominate you when they don't understand you. They don't understand how you stay calm, how you know what to do, or how you keep going even when everything should have shattered you. So, they call it luck, arrogance, or serendipity. But what's really going on is that your frequency doesn't match theirs. You move by alignment, not by what others think. You work on God's timetable, not on people's. That makes them confused. And when ego is involved, perplexity invariably develops into resistance. It's not hard to comprehend you. They're simply too used to thinking on the surface. They think that success should appear urgent, that confidence should sound loud, and that blessings should come from locations they know about. But you come in softly, move with purpose, and change the mood without even trying. That goes against the rules they've made for themselves. You are proof that grace can't be bought, and that worries those who need to use deception to remain relevant. So they'll do everything to break your flow, like generate rumors, make noise, or bother you, not because they hate you, but because they don't understand you. Some individuals can only deal with what they can put into words. They lose control as soon as they can't put a label on you. You are something that their words don't cover. They don't understand why you're so strong. How do you still shine after being hurt, losing someone, or being turned down? How can you still be nice when being mean is easier? That makes them uneasy, because people can't understand how God planned things. They strive to mess up God's order, but confusion can change what has already been decided. They'll try to get you to react because your silence makes their noise stand out. They'll try to mess with you because your calmness shows how weak their plans really are. But if your goal is long-term, an interruption is only temporary. The more they try to misread you, the more you rise above what they can understand. Not everyone was meant to understand you. You were made to be seen by the right people. At the end of the day, their misunderstanding is a reflection of themselves. It shows how little they can see now. And while they're busy trying to stop what they don't understand, your mission keeps going on, untouched and unexplainable, because destiny doesn't need to be understood to be unstoppable. Third, their plan is to delay, not lose. People change their plans when they realize they can hurt you. Instead of directly attacking your progress, they try to slow it down. They know they can't take what's yours, so they try to wear you out before you get there. It's not about hurting you. It's about taking your mind off things, tiring you out, and making you question your own timing. Frustration leads to self-sabotage, so delay is their weapon. If they can get you to lose your cool, they won't have to do anything else. You will see how problems start to come up as soon as you start to gain speed. The calls stop, the help goes away, the people you trusted suddenly stop talking. It's not by chance. It's a plan to make you think. Nothing is working, so you'll give up just before the big break. But you can't guess when divine timing will happen. It's accuracy. Every delay, every stop, and every change of direction is taken into account. The blessing didn't change because of the delay. It means you're getting better at dealing with what's on the other side. You can't go into a future that requires maturity with an unprepared version of yourself. Those who are plotting against you think they have the upper hand when it comes to time. They think you'll get tired of waiting. They think that when the noise gets loud, you'll lose your focus. They don't know that chosen ones never give up. They change without saying a word. They think they're slowing you down, but you're actually growing behind the scenes. You're learning how to be patient, how to tell the difference between right and wrong, and how to control your emotions. These are all things that will help you keep your blessing when it comes. They tried to weaken something, but their delay tactics only made it stronger. Not denying is not delaying. It's a mask. It's the universe making sure that people who were never meant to be in your next chapter can get in. They think that making you slower is a win, but all they're doing is giving you more time to become the person who can't be shaken. They thought they were being tricked, but they were actually being trained. What they thought would make you angry actually made you stronger. When the blessing finally comes, it will be so perfect and in line with everything else that you'll understand why it couldn't have come a moment sooner. The delay was part of God's plan. They wanted you to stop, but God used the time. You had to make sure you wouldn't have to start over. Number 4. Your blessing is too loud for their campaigns of whispering. They can say whatever they want, but evidence is better than words. You don't have the gift of opinion. Alignment is a blessing for you, and that's something that no rumor can change. People who can't keep up with your energy will always try to change how you look. They'll get together in groups to talk about you, turn events into stories, and make other people doubt you. But gossip is what people who don't have power say. They are trying to make something smaller that they can touch. Your growth, your good fortune, and your quiet confidence all speak louder than anything they could ever make up. The truth is that the universe doesn't need a publicist. Energy makes itself known. You don't need to defend your name when your light is already telling your story. Your blessings are so loud that they drown out the noise that people who need to feel important need to hear. They think they're hurting your reputation, but they're really just letting people know you're there. When they whisper, they always make you look at what you have. Every lie turns into free advertising for your future. They can change how things look, but they can't change how often things happen. And energy always shows what words try to hide. At this point, being misunderstood is a normal part of the process. You don't need to be liked. You're here to be recognized by alignment. People who need your energy will feel it even if it's loud. People who believe the gossip were never meant to be with you in the first place. Let them get it wrong. It's how they quietly remove themselves from the running. Your blessing, on the other hand, keeps getting bigger and bigger, opening doors they can't even see. The more they talk, the more they show how important you are. No one whispers about things that are normal. They only talk about things that are clear. You became their favorite subject, not because you failed, but because you succeeded in ways they can explain. Let them talk, let them show, let them make up stories. None of it can change what has already been said. Your blessing doesn't depend on your reputation. It's based on being recognized by higher powers. And that kind of favor doesn't need to be defended. It just needs to be opened. Number 5. They are afraid of you, not the person. Your presence doesn't bother them. It's what your presence makes happen. You have an energy that changes the way things feel. Things change when you walk in, not because you want to be noticed, but because your frequency has new codes in it. People who use old energy can feel it right away. Their spirits know that you bring about change, and change is a threat to anything that is based on control. You don't just take part in environments, you change them. That's why they start to mess up around you. They can't handle the vibration you bring into their comfort zones. You're not normal energy, you're a message from higher places. You were made to fix systems that have been based on ego, lies, and fear. So, when you show up, everything that isn't real starts to shake. Not everyone knows why they feel uncomfortable around you. It's because your light shows what has been pretending to be true. You didn't come here to feed in. You came to change the energy of any space you walk into. And that reset doesn't need your permission. It just happens. They don't think you're scary. They are afraid of what comes to life through you. You are the link between the spiritual order and the chaos of the world. Because you're connected to a higher network, you can download wisdom, insight, and discernment that other people can't. While they're busy talking behind your back, making plans, or pretending, you're getting direct orders from God. That's why they don't get why you made those choices. They're trying to figure you out using logic. When you work through revelation, you're built on a system that their minds can't understand. It's not personal when they don't want to work with you. It's about the spirit. The moment your energy comes into play, their systems start to crash. You set off all 3: exposure, healing, and responsibility. The part of them that lives off of manipulation or pretending can handle your frequency. And the truth is, you were never meant to be liked in the rooms. You were sent to improve. They can feel the change, even if they can't put it into words. They know that you are evolution, which is something they can't control. You are proof that God still sends messages through people. They fear you because you are the portal that ends things that no longer feed. Number 6. They can curse what heaven has written down. That's what your enemies keep forgetting. There is no luck or chance in your path. The divine order says that it must be written in permanent ink. No amount of jealousy, gossip, or bad intentions can change a plan that was made before they even knew your name. You don't need their approval to be strong, so you can't be weak when they don't like you. When something is signed by God, it can't be touched. People can plan, curse, or talk bad about you all they want. It just shows how weak they are, because you don't have a contract that can be broken. You have a promise that you can break. Every scheme against you fails for a reason. The energy they send back to them is stronger. It's not magic. It's the will of God. The universe protects you without you having to do anything when your intentions are good. Every time someone tries to hurt you, it works in your favor. If they lie to you, they will bring about their own downfall, because you're not walking on borrowed favor. You are walking in a written destiny, and no one can change what heaven has already said. The people who want to curse you don't know how safe you really are. People who think power is about control don't understand that real power is about alignment. You aren't protected by superstition. You are protected by purpose. The covenant over your life is a spiritual agreement that envy can't read. It's just divine insurance, moving things around to show false intentions, even when it seems like everything is falling apart. What was supposed to kill you only proves who you are. You don't need to protect yourself from their rituals or whispers. When your purpose is real, protection happens automatically. Don't panic about what someone else wrote for you. It needs your calm. Every time they try to hex you, they remind God why you were chosen. You were never meant to be afraid of the dark. You were meant to show how powerless darkness becomes when it is given a divine task. They can sing, they can plan, they can hate, but fate doesn't listen to what others say. It only pays attention to the handwriting of heaven, and yours has already been signed, sealed, and sent. Number 7. Their plot is not fire. It's fuel. The truth is that every time someone tries to hurt you, they end up helping you reach your goal. What they meant to hurt you with ends up being what lights your way. You have a way of turning pressure into progress and betrayal into a breakthrough. You don't just get through attacks, you grow from them. That's why their plans never turn out the way they want them to. They set the trap because they thought it would stop you, but they didn't know that you were chosen to rise through resistance. Divine wiring has a way of confusing the enemy. The more they plot against you, the stronger your spirit becomes. It's not being cocky, it's a change. Every time you failed, you learned to keep going. Every lie taught you how to tell the truth. Every time someone betrayed you, your instincts got sharper. While they were wasting time making plans, Kevin was turning their energy into your momentum. You are now a living example of spiritual alchemy, turning every bad thing that happens to you into energy that moves you forward. They keep thinking that your calmness means you've lost, but they don't know that it's focus. You know that fire doesn't scare you when you're made of it. Their hate turns into heat, and that heat makes you strong. It sounds like poetry. Their plans become your supply. The more they talk, the higher you go. The more they try to stop you, the faster divine timing moves. Without even knowing it, they're making ladders for you to climb. You were made to turn problems into chances. What was sent to make you weak only shows how special you are. That's why you can't lose. Every loss brings you closer to something better. You don't even have to get back at them. The laws of energy take care of that for you. Everything that is sent against you must come back changed. Don't worry when they plot. Say thank you. They are unknowingly helping you grow. What they meant for fire became your fuel, and what they thought would kill you only helped you fulfill your destiny. You're not just getting through their attacks. They give you power. Every plan makes things harder, and every bit of stress becomes a goal. That's heavenly efficiency. Your enemies are working extra hours to make sure you win. Number 8. You are not being tested. Someone is writing down what you're doing. A lot of people think the struggle is a matter of passing or failing, but it's not. You already passed the test when you chose not to give up. Right now, people are keeping records. Heaven is collecting proof, not to see if you can handle it, but to make sure you deserve your promotion. Every time you stay calm when you could have gotten angry, every time you choose kindness over revenge, it's all being written down every time. You show up even when you're tired, not to punish you, but to prove it. You don't have to worry about surviving anymore. You are in testimony mode. The delays, betrayals, and disappointments don't just happen. They show how much you've grown over time. The universe isn't asking, will they make it? It's saying, watch how they do it. Every time you made a sacrifice, every time you quietly put up with an injustice, and every time you held your tongue when you could have exposed someone, that's spiritual proof. It's making a case for your restoration so that when your blessing comes, no one can say you didn't earn it. People around you might think that nothing is happening, and that no one noticed all the good things you did, but divine systems don't change because people cheer. They move with quiet honesty. Every time you prayed instead of panicking, every time you forgave without getting closure, and every time you did something bad without anyone knowing. Those moments are very important in spiritual law. God doesn't like noise. It blesses being consistent. And you've been consistent, even when it seemed like no one was paying attention. When you finally make a breakthrough, it won't be by chance. It will be proof that comes out. The same people who doubted you will see how the universe rewards being obedient, patient, and having good intentions, not only for you, but also for everyone else who needs to see that doing the right thing still pays off. That's why it seems like the process takes so long. It takes time to write down. So don't mistake silence for neglect. The recording is still going. Every action, choice, and test of self-control is being recorded for God's sake. No one will be able to question your rise when the tables turn, which they will. It will be clear that it wasn't favoritism. It was keeping records. Heaven wasn't putting you to the test to see if you could make it. It was getting proof that you already have. Number 9. They thought being alone was a sign of weakness, but it was installation. It wasn't rejection when you were pulled away. It was a change of direction. You weren't being left out. You were getting ready. The silence that felt like exile was really a holy place, where divine hands were working on your system. You weren't left alone. You were getting rewired. They thought you had fallen off, but you were actually downloading new levels of wisdom, strength, and spiritual clarity. that couldn't be installed in places with a lot of noise. Being alone didn't hurt. It was a plan for your next level. People who work on surface energy don't get that being alone can be a great way to learn. Not all growth happens in public. Sometimes it happens in secret places where your spirit gets a new start. You had to cut ties with some people and places because their energy would have gotten in the way of the upgrade. They didn't get that your quiet time was like divine surgery, taking away attachments, healing old wounds, and giving back power you didn't even know you had lost. You weren't losing touch, you were getting more capacity. They laughed because they thought you were alone, but you were actually learning how to hear your own frequency again. You were learning to trust your gut and listen to advice without any outside noise. That time alone taught you how to be emotionally independent, which means you can't be controlled or manipulated. You got better without any praise. That's the kind of strength that scares people who need attention to feel alive. You stopped looking for approval, and that made you more attractive to alignment. People who made fun of your silence will now have to see what it did. They thought they were weak when they were getting ready. They thought they were retreating, but they were actually planning. You came out of isolation not empty but better, with a sharper mind, a stronger spirit, and more refined energy. That's why you don't feed in with the people who used to accept you. You grew beyond their frequency. The truth is that divine installation always needs to be disconnected for a short time. You can't download your destiny if you have distractions in your ear. So the time of being alone was never about losing. It was about loading. And now that the process is over, you are living proof that separation was never a punishment. It was programming for a higher level. You're not in their league. You are their lesson. You were never told to compete with anyone. Your purpose is on a different frequency altogether. What they think is competition is really revelation. You weren't put near them to show how valuable you are. You were put there to show what happens when someone walks in line with their ego instead of their heart. That's why they're so jealous. It's not hate, it's belief. You are what they could have been if they hadn't taken the easy way out, made excuses, or copied others. Your presence silently shows all the ways they gave up on their own future. They don't like you, not because you did something wrong, but because your discipline makes their inconsistency stand out. Your calmness reminds them of all the energy they've wasted trying to get approval. Your glow is proof that following the rules still works. They see the part of themselves that gave up in you, and that hurts. They don't want to learn, so they put their discomfort on you. That's why they try to copy, compete with, or discredit. But you can't beat someone who isn't even playing the same game. You aren't running laps. You have a reason to walk. You keep rising because you are in line with them. You don't act on impulse. You move when told to. You're not looking for results. You're keeping up with the beat. People who depend on looks can't predict what you'll do because of that difference. They think that getting attention is a sign of success. You measure it by how peaceful it is, and that's what makes you different. You're not trying hard. You're going with the flow. You were supposed to inspire them, but their pride made them watch instead of learn. That's why you had to stop needing to explain yourself. Your rise will teach more than your words ever could. You're not in competition with them. You are their reminder. You shouldn't be ashamed of your success. It's to wake them up. They'll find out the truth soon enough. You weren't put in their way to compete. You were put there to face them. Your light isn't meant to block them out. It is there to show them what it means to be obedient in a human way. You were never in their league because you don't play by the rules. You're their example of what happens when grace and consistency meet, and you can only see that, not match it. 11. They're playing chess on a board that you already outgrew. They still believe that life is all about making moves, manipulating people, and being in charge. Would you stop playing that game as soon as you became aware of your spiritual side? You used to act, defend, and plan like them until you learned that real power isn't about being smarter than others. It's about not needing to get involved anymore. While they're still figuring out their next move, you're already in a place where peace has been declared checkmate. They didn't get the message that the game was over. They still think they can pull strings behind the scenes by whispering here, manipulating there, twisting a story, or making people fight. But you've gone beyond that level, so it doesn't even matter to you. Their tricks only work on people who need to be validated or are afraid of losing something. And you've let go of both. You don't chase after results anymore because you believe in God's timing. You don't compete because you know that energy will sort itself out. They can understand that. You don't have to win anymore because you've already aligned. They are still fighting for power. You're playing for a reason. Those are two very different areas. Low power needs people to see it. Purpose moves without sound. They're still addicted to getting reactions and being seen as smart. But you've learned that wisdom doesn't make itself known. It just shows results. You became untouchable the moment you realized that you don't have to prove to people who are still living in a dream that you are aware. They keep trying to get you into a fight, thinking you'll react like you did before. But you've grown up and can avoid emotional traps. You don't argue where the truth will come out on its own. You don't say when alignment will do the talking. The more they try to move things around you, the more they show how limited they are. You're not even on the board anymore. You're looking down from a higher place and watching them wear themselves out in a game that can't touch your world. That's why they are angry. You stop giving them energy to feed on, so their plans don't work anymore. You're not acting on impulse. You're acting on flow. They're playing chess in the dark, and you're making kingdoms in the light. They still think it's a game of moves. But you know that manipulation falls apart when awareness grows. You didn't just win, you grew beyond the whole board. Number 12. They lost access when you became aware of it. Something in the spiritual world changed when you began to see people for who they really are instead of who they acted like they were. You stopped letting people control you. The people who used to drain your emotions, twist your empathy, or take advantage of your kindness suddenly lost their grip, not because you stood up to them, but because you saw them. Awareness is a kind of spiritual power, and once you start using it, the illusion that gave them power goes away. People who thrive on confusion want you to stay in the dark about what they really want. They rely on you to explain things too much, forgive too quickly, and give them the benefit of the doubt. That's where they can get in. That access closed as soon as you stopped making excuses and started listening to your gut. You didn't have to tell anyone, block anyone, or get back at anyone. The vibration just moved. Their calls stopped hitting the same way. Their presence stopped feeling like it was needed. And your spirit started to reject what used to drain you. That's what awareness does. It works quietly, accurately, and without stopping. Your energy is automatically protected when your discernment gets stronger. You don't draw in chaos that looks like connection anymore. You start to notice that some people only come around when they need something or when they see that your light is brighter. You can tell that conversations that used to be normal now feel heavy. That's your spiritual firewall updating in real time and getting rid of things that don't feed anymore. It's not being rude. It's self-preservation through being clear. The best part is that awareness doesn't need to be fought. You stop fighting with behavior when you understand energy. You just let go and let the truth come out. You don't need closure from people who were never honest with you in the first place. Their absence proves it. Their silence is an apology. The more you see, the less they can stay. That's why some relationships fell apart as soon as you started to get better. Your vision got better. What used to make you happy now feels wrong. What used to motivate you now seems fake. That's hardly a loss. That's freedom. They didn't leave because you changed. They left because your awareness stopped them from getting in. And once your spirit updates, you can go back in, no matter how hard they knock. Energy that has run out never comes back.